My name is Kamal Johnson. I'm the mayor of the city of Hudson. Yeah, I grew up in Hudson. I went to school here. I went to college at Co-Green for my undergrad. I've kind of been here majority of my life. I stayed in Hudson because I really felt like there was a lot of opportunities that were missed for me growing up, and I wanted to help kind of build those opportunities for the next generation. And also, it's a place that, I keep dear to my heart. I like that in difficult times, our community bands together super fast. And you really can feel the soul of Hudson when it's time. There's been a lot of changes over the past 5-10 years, but that soul is still there in Hudson. My administration is looking at housing through a bunch of different lenses. We're all about doing innovative and creative work that's different than the norm. We have our universal basic income pilot. We have some of our housing projects that are coming. So we are really looking at keeping the people who want to be in Hudson.
Hey, I'm Michael Hunter, and I have a shop in Hudson called Michael Hunter. I sell and show avant-garde men's and women's fashion and fine jewelry, and my place is sort of set up in a bit of a gallery-like setting. So right now I'm featuring the work of Terry Rogers. I've been here in Hudson for 5 years, and every day I love it more and more. It's an amazing place to live. It's a fabulous community. The business community is amazing in the support for each other, whether it's restaurants or other shops. And I have a shop on Martha's Vineyard I've had for many years. I still have it, but Hudson's kind of got my heart. So that's it.
My name is Megan Ross, and I'm a freelance fashion stylist in interiors as well. And about 2 years ago, during the pandemic, my husband, who's a mill worker here in Hudson, we joined forces and we're developing a line of hand-carved wooden handbags right now. So that's been our focus, which has been wonderful. And we moved to Hudson, I'd say 10 years ago, and full-time it's been 5 years. Hudson was an accident. We've been happily living in Brooklyn for a very long time and having a very hard time trying to buy in Brooklyn. And a late night adventure online brought us to a little house, and something just made me want to come and see it. I'd never been to Hudson. My husband had never been to Hudson. We rented a car, and the rest is history. And we love it here. It's great, especially for my son Ozzy, being able to raise him in such a wonderful, diverse community is just the best. That's the main reason that we love Hudson, is the diversity, all the different cultures and all the different people and the artists and everything. And we're very, very happy here.
Hi, my name is Hannah Ross. I'm an artist and business owner in Hudson. I moved up here from the city to find a smaller community that was more focused on agriculture and just had a smaller connection to art and local food. And I think it's a very vibrant community as a small business owner trying to create new systems. So in my studio, I make clothing from start to finish, and I have a focus on natural dyes. I'm growing and harvesting natural dyes in my garden and promoting education through workshops, one-of-a-kind clothing, and services. I also offer natural dyeing services for artists and designers and local people who want to upcycle their clothing. I feel like Hudson was a very welcoming area, the whole Hudson Valley in general. I feel like it's just a very supportive region of the world, and I did feel accepted and very inspired by a lot of local business owners just doing what they want to do and sharing their art or sharing their craft and not feeling the pressure of living in a big city. And I really like living in Hudson. So I had this idea to start a community dye bath where people from the local area can drop off their clothing to me. I naturally dye it and they pick it up the next week. different color each month. And Hudson was the perfect place to start this project because it's a small enough community where people know where I live, they can drop off the clothing, I can actually dye it and promote No New Clothes. Just happy I found Hudson. Out of all the places in Hudson Valley, it is a great spot for me to be.
Oh, I'm Myron Pollenberg. Well, I'm a practicing artist. I'm still practicing, and someday I'll be a full-fledged artist. But I'm an artist. I actually like some of the ways it's grown. I sort of like that it's become a little more cultured. You know, it got out of just the antique shops. You know, it segued into some galleries, some better restaurants. You know, it's progress. You know, things do move. Now my concern is simple, and it has nothing to do with everybody else's opinion. I'd like to see a way that we can manage our progress, not resist it, and find another way to make it possible, whether it's through developers and state or federal government, to keep the people here that are here, you know, that may be displaced by projects or gentrification. There has to be another way other than trying to hold the city back from growing in a healthy way. That's my opinion of Hudson at this point in my life, and I do enjoy being here, and I have a batch of friends that are here, and a lot of weekenders that are here that are friends of ours.
I'm Gretchen Kelly. I'm an artist, and I've been one ever since I was born. And I have lived in Hudson for 19 years and love it here. So back in the day, 19 years ago, it was very affordable to live here. I got a whole house for $650. And it was huge. So for an artist, that was amazing. I could see when I drove down the street that there were funky people walking on the street, and there were unusual storefronts that were artistic. Some of them were shops with unusual items, obviously curated by artists. Like, so much unique stuff was here. A lot of stuff was closed down too. But I got the vibe. I knew it was the right place to move without knowing anybody. And then you get to meet everybody once you live here. Well, it's really changed. It has changed like 180 degrees now because of the money that has come in. And now I'm one of those people that has to worry if I can afford my rent, if the landlord is going to raise it. And but through the years, I've always landed nicely wherever I live, and I actually don't project into the future, so I'm not worried, but if I think about it, I could be a casualty. But I still love it. I have a lot of friends here that I love, and I don't have any family here on the East Coast anymore, but I don't even think about that because I have such good friends here. Well, what do they say? They're my chosen family. Yeah. I still love it. I get a lot of inspiration. I love living next to the Hudson River. I'm a plein air painter. I paint figurative. I paint flowers. I have a big garden in my backyard. And so I have all of my resources right here for my work. And, you know, I like to bike ride around, and I'm going to go swimming at a lake after this. There's like a lot of really great stuff here.
My name's Kelly Kwan McIntyre. I am first and foremost a makeup artist for commercial print, and been doing that forever, like almost 30 years. But most recently I founded a creative collective called the Registry Creatives in Hudson. It is a forum and a listing service, I guess, for all kinds of creatives of every type. So whether you be like in my field, commercial print or filmmaking, or you could be a furniture designer or interior designer or whatever creativity vein you're in, we are interested in seeing you on the registry. I love the whole valley. I mean, we'd been up and down both sides of the river, but once we got to Hudson, there was just something about it, you know, coming into the main drag and looking around, there just felt like a real sense of almost immediate community to us. So we felt that moving up here from the city, we would just find our people. We kind of just felt like, yeah, I get this, and I get what's happening, and it just felt right to us. So, you know, we just started going out to galleries and, you know, sort of walking around, and people were just really, really into knowing about who we were and what we were doing, and that was it. It just felt really good. Yeah, I just feel like it's got an energy that is completely unique than other cities up here. And yet they're also, I think, very inclusive. Like, they're appreciative of other towns in the area, which I also really like. So yeah, and it's beautiful.
James Autry. I'm a filmmaker and an artist. A neighbor of mine in New Mexico recommended it, and he said there's a bunch of artists, and it's close to the city, and he thought I'd like it, and he helped me get a job and a van to live in for a month. So it was overwhelmingly welcoming. I remember going from a town where there weren't a lot of young artists and coming to a place where everyone knew everyone, was hanging out and having fun and having art shows, and it was just really fun. Yeah.
My name is Kat Tice. I am a writer and an artist. I like to say interdisciplinary, so that kind of allows me to just do whatever I want. I moved to Hudson officially in August of 2019. So what prompted my move to Hudson was I was coordinating and directing a poetry and art program in the summer called the Homeschool, and I did that for several years. So that's kind of how I first became introduced to Hudson. And then 2019 was the first year I was full on the director, but I also was being pushed out of my apartment building in Brooklyn. So I came without a home, and I found a home here and community, so I stayed. What I like about Hudson is that, you know, it's a city, it's a town that kind of like nurtures and celebrates and really kind of values like culture and art, and not, you know, one kind of discipline. And, you know, there's just kind of like a real championing of like the creative spirit. I think, you know, for me, it's like been really inspiring to be here through the pandemic and kind of seeing how the community has rallied together to support each other and take care of each other. Like, I'm thinking specifically of like, you know, like the community fridges, and for a long time, just like naming random examples I'm thinking of, but I remember for a long time, like TSL, like Time Space Limited, was like doing kind of like making like these mass meals for people who needed food. And, you know, I think that was something that I really made me happy about being here. And also, it's been really inspiring to see people kind of take the energy and of that moment, and this moment of kind of really defining like kind of how you want your life to be, and really kind of going for it and pursuing that. And so I guess that's like what I've noticed about being here. My next project that I'm working on right now is a kind of a sound and media installation. It's a podcast that I'm making for Tanya Grennert's gallery in November. Can't remember the dates off the top of my head, but you should check it out.
I'm Mary Vaughan Williams. I moved to Hudson 20 years ago from Lower Manhattan, which was based on a mix of the 9/11 experience and some other things in my life. I was being dragged kicking and screaming from the city, but in the end, when I saw Warren Street on a rainy night, I said, what is this? Because my partner had wanted to move to the country, and that was a little scary for me because I grew up in New York. But Warren Street in 2003 was very different from Warren Street now, and it was enchanting. It was like living on a movie set because there was very few people around. And so I opened my first store then, and then, let's see, 11 years later, I opened my second store, which is Hudson Clothier. And I feel like I've become really a resource for people in this community to find just the basic hardworking clothes that they need in their lives. And the fact that it is all American made and a lot of local makers also is very appealing. And that means a lot to me. I love seeing the people I know in the shop. And Hudson is an amazing community of transplants as well as locals and people that care about living in a small town. I just hope it doesn't lose its friendliness. That's the only fear I have, because when you commit to living in a small town, you have to show up. And I think that's a really important thing for people to remember, because that's what you lose in New York. And you may love the anonymity. I go back there and I do enjoy it. But when you live in a small town, it's about community. Opening in September in Poughkeepsie, Canvas and Clothier, a micro department store of US-made clothing and home goods. And we'll have a little coffee shop called C&C Coffee Shop with a few goodies and coffee and lemonade and watermelon slushies, hopefully. So yeah, come see us.
My name is Alexander Petralia. I am the president of the Hudson Business Coalition, which advocates for the small business community here in Hudson, New York. Well, I had been coming up to the area since I was young with my family. Literally the year I was born, they bought a house over in Kinderhook, so I have so many fond memories of growing up in this part of the Hudson Valley and in Columbia County. And when the opportunity presented itself to move up here full-time, I jumped at it. I love this community in particular because we have both such a forward-looking, progressive vision for what community is, plus such a respect and reverence for history and what's come before us. And that carries through to our architecture, to some of the local history and flavor that you get just walking around and talking to people. And hopefully through the Business Coalition we can keep some of that alive while also being on the vanguard of what's new. This is a community that really knows how to come together in a time of need, and that was certainly what we saw in the last couple of years. I hope that people come to Hudson and they see for themselves everything that we have to offer here. You know, take in our sites, take in our amazing culinary experiences, and really take the time to walk all the streets, not just Warren Street, and get off the beaten path a little bit. And you know, there's inspiration on every block and around every corner.
My name is Marine Panvert. I'm an artist, a clothing designer, and an amateur musician. I started coming up here in 2006 when I had a baby, and I thought that would be a beautiful place to raise my kid. And I moved to Hudson definitely 4 years ago. What brought me here was the beautiful country, the beautiful landscape, the light. It's gorgeous, and 2 hours from New York, very convenient. Oh my God, this is such a tight, lovely, diverse community. You know, I was in New York City for many years, downtown, and those communities don't really exist anymore, and I find the sense of community here in this friendly city of Hudson.
My name is Colby The Maker, and I am a multimedia artist. I'm doing an artist residency here, but that's not what brought me here. I was here before. I went to school here, so I kind of grew up in the area. I went to Hudson High. I love the acceptance of all people and all art forms in this community. I feel like that's really big here, you know. And I also, I love that artists have the ability to thrive in an environment with other artists, to collaborate and do other things and learn and grow from each other.
My name's Pookie Amsterdam, and I live in Hudson, New York. I absolutely love Hudson. I don't think I'd live anyplace else but Columbia County now. The verdure, the healing verdure, the air, the light, it has completely inspired and captured me. It's a place where people come to find freedom to express themselves, to find other people like them. You know, I came from New York City, and so many people. What makes New York are the people who come there from all over the world and all over the country. The city has become now a funnel, and with our sainted Amtrak line, we come up here and we've been able to establish an art community, a business community, a place of creative economy and enterprise that really there's nothing like it for miles around. We have a beautiful main street. We have exciting stores. I also find all the antique stores and places, you know, that's like the history of humankind. In Hudson, we are free to produce what we want and need. We have the room, we have the air, we have the friends, and we have the support, and that has meant so very much to me.